In the quiet ache of a heart that has lost everything, love sometimes knocks wearing the face of a stranger. Imagine this: your father dies. You're drowning in grief. And the only way to keep the life he left you is to marry a man you've never met. A man whose eyes hold secrets darker than the night. Would you say, "I do"? Stay with me, beautiful soul. Because this isn't just a love story. This is the story of how two broken hearts found home in the last place they ever expected. If you've ever loved someone who left too soon, if you've ever been afraid to trust again, this one is for you. Don't go anywhere. The twists will steal your breath and heal your heart. Meet Natalie Barnes. 28. Soft brown eyes that once sparkled with laughter, now swollen from endless nights of crying. A small-town girl who still believes in fairy tales, even after life tore the pages apart. She thought her biggest battle was learning to live without her father. She had no idea her father had already written her next chapter, and the hero came with a marriage license and walls built like fortresses. The story begins. Natalie sat on the faded floral couch of the little country house she grew up in, surrounded by a sea of crumpled tissues and untouched cups of cold tea. The silence was so heavy it felt like it could crush her. Then, the doorbell rang. Sharp. Insistent. Cutting through the fog of grief like a knife. She almost ignored it. What was the point? More neighbors with awkward hugs and casseroles she couldn't stomach? More people who never really knew James Barnes, the man who had been her entire world? But the bell rang again. Louder. Professional. With legs that felt filled with lead, Natalie dragged herself to the door and pulled it open. And froze. The man standing on her porch didn't belong in this sleepy village. Tall. Impeccable dark grey suit that probably cost more than her little house. Jet black hair perfectly styled, sharp jawline, and eyes. God, those eyes. Deep, midnight black, studying her with an intensity that made her want to slam the door and lock every bolt. He held a leather briefcase like it was an extension of his armor. His expression revealed absolutely nothing. Natalie Barnes. His voice was deep, controlled, carrying zero warmth. She gripped the doorknob tighter, her only anchor in a world that had just tilted. Yes. Nicholas Fairmorn. Your father's attorney. May we talk? He stepped inside like he owned the air around him. Natalie led him to the living room still cluttered with funeral cards and photos of her father smiling in every frame. Nicholas's dark eyes swept the room once, taking in the sacred mess, but he said nothing. He simply sat in the old armchair her father used to love, and something inside Natalie cracked. A stranger in her father's chair. It felt wrong. It felt too real. Your father hired me 6 months ago, Nicholas began, opening his briefcase with precise movements. He knew the cancer was terminal. He wanted to protect you after he was gone. Tears burned Natalie's eyes instantly. Cancer. The doctors said heart attack. He didn't want you to know, Nicholas replied, emotionless, like he was reading a contract, not destroying her world. He thought it would be kinder this way. Less time to worry. Less time to suffer. So he lied to me, Natalie whispered, voice breaking. For 6 whole months. He protected you, Nicholas corrected gently but firmly. And he's still protecting you, through this will. He slid documents across the coffee table. Everything goes to you. The house. The rare book collection worth nearly $2 million. Investments that will give you a comfortable life forever. Natalie should have felt relief. Gratitude. Instead she felt only emptiness. Until Nicholas's voice changed. It became tighter. There's a condition. Her stomach dropped. What kind of condition? Nicholas looked straight into her eyes, no softening. To receive everything, you must marry immediately. To the person your father specifically chose. He paused. Me. The world stopped spinning. Natalie's heart slammed against her ribs. I'm sorry, what? Nicholas didn't blink. Your father wrote it into the will. Marry me within 30 days, or everything goes to charity. I drafted it myself. It's legal. Natalie was shaking. Anger. Grief. Betrayal. Why? Why would my father do this? And why would you agree? For the first time, something flickered across Nicholas's perfect mask. Pain. Regret. It was gone before she could name it. I had my reasons, he said quietly. Just as your father had his. He pulled an envelope from his inner pocket. Her father's handwriting. For Natalie. Read this before you decide. With trembling fingers she opened it. My dear Natalie. If you're reading this, I'm already gone. I was always a coward about big emotions. Nicholas Fairmorn is a good man, better than he seems. I know this sounds insane, but trust me, you're in danger. People want what I left you. They won't hesitate to hurt you. Nicholas can protect you. Marry him. It doesn't have to be forever. Just long enough for the danger to pass. He understands the terms. I love you more than words can ever say. I'm sorry for this final imposition. Always your father, James. Natalie read it 3 times, tears splashing onto the paper. Then she looked up at the stranger who was suddenly her only lifeline. What danger? She whispered. Your father had enemies, Nicholas answered simply. And now they'll come for you. He stood, towering over her. You have until tomorrow. Marry me, and you'll be protected. Refuse, and I'll walk away with a clear conscience, knowing I tried. But you'll be completely alone. At the door he stopped, back still to her. For the record, I don't want this any more than you do. But I made a promise to your father. And I always keep my promises. The door clicked shut. Natalie was left alone with the letter, the silence, and the most impossible choice of her life. 24 hours later, Natalie stood inside a cold courthouse wearing the same simple navy dress she'd buried her father in. No flowers. No guests. Just her, and Nicholas in a suit even sharper than yesterday. The officiant looked bored. Do you, Natalie Marie Barnes, take Nicholas James Fairmorn to be your lawfully wedded husband? His middle name was James. The same as her father's. A coincidence that felt like fate laughing. Natalie looked into those dark eyes searching for warmth. She found only a professional mask. I do, she whispered, voice empty. I do, Nicholas answered, firm, emotionless. You are now husband and wife. No kiss. Just papers to sign. Outside on the sidewalk Nicholas said quietly, You move into my place today. Part of the agreement. We have to look married. His apartment was modern, minimalist, soulless. Grey everywhere. No photos. No life. When he showed her the enormous guest room, Natalie whispered, This is too much. Nicholas almost smiled. Comfortable, I hope. Then the mask slipped. Natalie, I know this isn't ideal. But I can't protect you if you're alone in that isolated house. Please, just trust the process. It wasn't a demand. It was something softer. Almost a plea. That night she couldn't sleep. In his personal library she found the only photograph in the entire apartment hidden between law books. Young Nicholas, maybe 25, laughing with her father, arms around each other. On the back, in her father's handwriting. To Nicholas, the son I chose when blood failed me. Always grateful. James. The son he chose. Natalie's knees went weak. Nicholas wasn't just her father's lawyer. He was family. The next morning she woke to the smell of burning eggs and coffee. Nicholas, in sweatpants and a t-shirt for the first time, was failing spectacularly at breakfast. She laughed despite everything. Took over. And for the first time, they talked. Really talked. He told her how her father had saved him. Paid off $400,000 in student debt. Gave him a job. Became the father his own blood family never was. Tears shone in Nicholas's eyes, the first real emotion she'd ever seen. For 8 years your father was more family to me than my own ever was, he admitted. When he begged me to marry you, how could I refuse? Natalie stepped closer. You loved my father. Like a son loves a father. And then he said the words that cracked her heart wide open. "This doesn't feel like a contract anymore, Natalie. But I'm terrified it will hurt 1,000 times more when it ends." 2 weeks passed in careful coexistence. Silent dinners slowly filled with soft conversation. She discovered he read Pablo Neruda in secret. He discovered she sang off-key while cooking, and never teased her. Then one evening she came home, and the apartment was destroyed. Sofa slashed. Paintings ripped. On the living room wall, written in red paint that looked like blood, "Return what's ours." Nicholas pulled her out instantly, called the police, and held her trembling hand the entire time. Later, in a hotel room, he finally told her the full truth. Her father wasn't just a collector. He was a recoverer of stolen artifacts, stealing back priceless books from criminals and returning them to rightful owners. The Dimitrov family, Russian mobsters with diplomatic immunity, wanted one particular medieval manuscript back. They believed Natalie now had it. And they would kill to get it. That night Nicholas arranged for them to disappear to his hidden country house 2 hours away. As they drove through the dark, Natalie whispered, "You're risking your life for me, for a promise to a dead man." Nicholas glanced at her, eyes soft in the dashboard light. "No. I'm risking my life for you, because somewhere between the contract and the chaos, you stopped being an obligation." But in that isolated country house, surrounded by forest and danger, a storm is coming. Not just outside. Inside their hearts. One confession under thunder and lightning will change everything forever. If your heart is racing right now, comment the word storm below. Subscribe and turn on the bell. Part 3 is the emotional explosion you've been waiting for. The kiss. The danger. The choice that will either break them or make them whole. The country house was rustic perfection. Dark wood, stone fireplace, windows overlooking a private lake. For the first time in weeks, Natalie could breathe. On the third night, the storm hit. Lightning tore the sky. Thunder shook the walls. Power died. Natalie woke in panic and instinctively reached for Nicholas. He was already awake, staring into the dark. Without a word he pulled her into his arms. The first real embrace. She cried against his chest, for her mother who died in a storm, for her father, for the girl she used to be. Nicholas held her like she was the most precious thing in his world, whispering, "You're not alone anymore. I'm here. I'm never leaving." When the tears slowed, he tilted her face up. Firelight danced across his features. "When your father asked me to marry you," he whispered, voice raw, "part of me was angry. But another part was relieved. Because it meant connection. Family. And then I met you. Beautiful even when broken. Strong even when crying. And I thought, maybe your father knew exactly what he was doing." Natalie's heart stopped. "I'm falling, Natalie," he said, voice trembling. "Falling hard and fast. And it terrifies me. But when I look at you, I don't see obligation anymore. I see a future. Our future." In the middle of the raging storm, she whispered back, "Then stop falling alone, because I've already fallen with you." Their first kiss was soft, hesitant, then desperate, years of loneliness melting away in one perfect moment. But danger was never far. 2 nights later, headlights cut through the trees. The Dimitrov men had found them. Nicholas grabbed his gun, pushed Natalie behind him, and called the detective. What followed was chaos, shouts, gunfire, breaking glass. Nicholas fought like a man protecting his entire world. When one intruder grabbed Natalie, Nicholas took a bullet to the shoulder, but he still got her to safety. Police sirens finally screamed down the dirt road. Diplomatic immunity crumbled under new evidence her father had secretly recorded years earlier. The Dimitrovs were arrested. The nightmare ended. In the hospital the next morning, bandaged but alive, Nicholas looked at Natalie and said, "I don't want a clean divorce. I don't want temporary. I want forever, if you'll still have me." Natalie smiled through happy tears. "I do. Again. This time for real." They renewed their vows 6 months later on the lake shore at the country house. Simple, heartfelt, surrounded by friends and the memory of her father smiling down from the sky. 2 years later, Natalie and Nicholas sat on that same porch, watching their baby daughter play in the grass. The walls were gone. The contract had become a love story no one saw coming. Short life lesson. Sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with the hardest conditions. Your father's last wish taught us this. Trust the unexpected paths life puts in front of you. The people who seem like strangers today might be the safe place your heart has been praying for. Never be afraid to say "I do," even when the only reason at first is a promise. Because real love doesn't start with perfect timing. It starts with courage. If this story touched your heart, please do 3 things that mean the world to me. 1. Hit like so more people discover stories like this. 2. Subscribe and turn on the bell. New emotional love stories every week. 3. Comment below. I believe in unexpected love. I read every single one. Thank you for staying until the very end. You're the reason I keep telling these stories. Until the next heart-touching tale, take care of your beautiful heart. I'll see you in the comments. Red heart #. End of series ***.